Welcome to the Customer Service Training for Local Businesses by the Sunshine Coast Council. I'm your host, Jo Harris. And this is Module 3.2, Understanding Your Customers' Priorities. Understanding the customer. One of the best ways to improve customer service and your bottom line is to understand what the customer actually wants. While this is best left to market research companies, there are some steps that you can take to gain insight into your customers' priorities. Remember, what is important to you may not be the same thing that is important to your customers. Customers focus on the outcome of the experience, that they have a working product or service, for example, and not the process that you go through to provide that outcome. We are going to go over 6 steps to understand the customer. This should walk you through the basic process of developing a survey, sending out the survey, and applying the results. Step 1. Background information. Ask some of your most valuable customers what is important to them. You can do this by phone, face-to-face, or email, and study the responses and make a list of the top 10 areas to use as a basis for your survey. Step number 2 is to prepare your survey. Make a list of your questions based on the background you have gathered. Explain that you want the questions rated on a scale of 1 to 10, and be sure to explain the scale. For example, 1 equals poor and 10 is excellent. Suggest a NA or not applicable response. Step number 3. Meet quality criteria. Your survey needs to be a minimum criteria in order to aid you in discovering your customers' needs. Here are some minimums. Your survey needs at least 100 customers or 50% of your database, whichever is lower. Survey at least once per year, and questions must have a scale of at least 7 and preferably 10 points. Responders are selected randomly, and responders represent the customer database. Step number 4, collecting results. There are many ways to collect results from your survey. You can distribute paper surveys or phone interviews and then compile the data by hand, entering the results. Email surveys or online surveys allow for a more streamlined approach to the data gathering. There are many solutions online for surveys. SurveyMonkey, for example, is a good service that many companies use. Additionally, you can use a combination of options to gather your data. Step number 5, asking your customers to complete the survey. There are many ways to do this depending on your method of collecting the data. Assuming you do an online survey, you can send out an email to your customers. Another option is to give them a link immediately after a purchase. Remember that you need at least 100 responses or 50% of your customers to respond. If after 2 weeks you have not met this minimum, send out a reminder to your customers. After another week, review your responses. This is likely to be all the responses that you will get. Transfer the responses to a spreadsheet or download them in a spreadsheet form if you are using an online survey service. Calculate your overall score from 1 to 100, and remember that you ask 10 questions, hopefully on a scale of 10. So for each person you should have a total score between 1 and 100. Finally, step number 6, using the results. Be sure that your overall index is at least 65 points out of 100. The survey will reveal your strengths and weaknesses. Make a simple action plan to improve your weak areas. Your download handout for Module 3.2 contains a comparison of the top 3 online survey providers. We hope that you will find it helpful in your quest to understand your customers' priorities. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jo Harris for the Sunshine Coast Council. Bye for now.